up, everyone? Okay, I'm probably never doing that again. What's up, guys? I'm just trying to. This one's kind of just a free thoughts of some of the directions of a lot of the Magic the Gathering products, kind of the general feel of the market, and where to go from here. So let's step back for maybe like a year or two, where things were pretty negative. So everyone, if you would go on Reddit, would be like, man, like these sets suck, like let's not hold anything, man, like new Magic the Gathering's like kind of lame, even though everyone was buying up new Magic, everyone was participating, everyone thought these were cool cards, but because the values of everything were so low, no one had faith in it. You can't really trust something until you see it. So that's kind of what happens where a lot of these people who want to, they want proof before they go in on a play. They want to see that it can have the potential to go 2 to 3x before they actually trust that. Even though by the time it's gone 2 to 3x, how many times can it continue to do that? So a lot of these types of plays, you do need to go in with a blind faith and just trust your own instinct and, buy it up. So I know I was doing that. I wish I went harder during that time. I know a lot of people are like, yeah, we had it good. Yeah, it was like sales every day. You'd go on Amazon and pick up products for like half off distribution cost. There was just nonstop sales. I know it was like Black Friday. Everyone's like, yeah, just, come into Black Friday, buy some Magic the Gathering sealed, and you'll be good. Like you'll be set. Everyone knew the day that it was going to be like free Magic the Gathering pretty much, or at least like you could buy and almost immediately flip it. Like that's pretty phenomenal. Even if you couldn't immediately flip it, it was like you could just buy it and it was so cheap. It was like the cheapest prices you could have seen. So that was maybe about a year and a half, 2 years ago, where everyone was just so negative. Past that, we find out that collector boxes aren't ever getting reprinted. And since then, the natural cycle of collectibles was unfolding, where collectibles casually rise in price. Not only that, but as consumer sentiment rebuilt, where people started to have some faith in Magic the Gathering, not only was the natural collectible cycle going in, but people were like, man, I gotta secure my positions. I got to get in on this stuff. I got to actually tap into Magic the Gathering or open for singles or sell for singles or buy singles or whatever. People were still playing. So there was kind of this market frenzy for any of the collector boxes, especially, some of the hot ones. I'm not going to name any specific sets. Everything was just getting completely bought up. It was like everyone woke up and was like, whoa, everything's dirt cheap almost, or like these are great prices and some boxes are moving up quick. What's the next box that's going to move up? And so everyone's playing whack-a-mole trying to get these boxes before they spiked. Everything kept spiking. It was just like you'd buy one box, a different box would spike, you'd buy that box, the box you bought spiked, you'd buy more of that box, the other box spiked. Everything was just going nuts. So that's kind of the middle point. And as we've trailed up to the current day, everything has just been on this upwards trajectory. Everything's just been flying up. Now we hit today, where the newest set is Tarkir. Everyone knows Tarkir is going to be a blowout set, but some people don't know how high it can go. Now, judging by the numbers, judging by my feel of the market, I feel like it could easily match Foundations. So the question you have to ask yourself is, if you could have the future you come back in time and say, hey, Tarkir is $400 right now, but in the future, it can be $500. Would you buy the box of Tarkir? If you wouldn't, go ahead. Like you probably just didn't care about the product, or you didn't care about flipping, or whatever it might be, or you don't want to build your sealed collection. But if you're someone who's sealed, you should realize that's a free opportunity. And I would say Tarkir, the numbers alone is telling you that. Where you have a product like Foundations, which did easily the 500, which is pulling kind of a similar trajectory to Tarkir. I would say a product like Bloomburrow, Tarkir's on the fast track to the Bloomburrow trajectory, where Bloomburrow boxes right now are $420, around that price. Tarkir's already $380. How much longer until it hits $400? How much longer till it hits $500? Not only that, but I think I've said in another video, and I'm not sure if the deal is still going to even be open by the time you get this, but GameStop is selling the Tarkir Omega blisters for $26 after tax here in California. So you multiply that, and that's about $310, $312 with after tax for a whole 12 boosters of Tarkir Dragonstorm collector boosters. So that's cheaper than $380. It's way cheaper than $380 before tax. That's, $380 before tax is about $400, $420 after tax. So I guess the point is, you should be able to see the trajectory of Tarkir, where it's almost the same thing, where it's like there's, and if you know the how the market plays, initially there's a market glut. Everyone's trying to sell it. As time goes on, less and less people are trying to sell Tarkir Dragonstorm. Less and less boxes are floating around the market for cheap. Eventually the price will climb for these. The price has climbed for almost every single box that they have made, including the little poopy sets, including stuff that actually fell and dropped and decayed, like Baldur's Gate. So I would say Tarkir Dragonstorm is a clear winner for the next $500, $600 box. I think it's obvious. It's going to take some time for it to actually climb to that. That's not the only box we have right now that there's potential opportunity in. There's also Aether Drift, and there's also still Murders of Karlov is still pretty cheap, and then there's also Outlaws of Thunder Junction. Now the thing about these sets, if you're hearing this right now in the current day, when I say stuff like Outlaws, you might call it a hat set. You might say, why does Wizards have Western theme? When I say stuff like Murders of Karlov, you say, yeah, another hat set. You say, why did the whole Clue detective thing, it's kind of weird. You still know the taste. You still know the flavor of the set. When I say stuff like Aether Drift, you say, yeah, that set is lame and not fun to play. You say, like, what really is in Aether Drift? What cards are in Aether Drift? You still understand the flavor because we're in present time. But let's give it a couple months. Let's give it a year. Every set for Magic the Gathering, as time goes on, certain cards get figured out. Certain cards become this is actually a hit playable, and everyone is buying this or slotting it into blank decks. And eventually the EV rises for these products. Eventually the singles detach from the sealed product, and people are more after the singles and less caring about how the pre-release vibe went, how the flavor went, and it becomes more of like, this single is good, let's buy it. I mean, think of stuff like Amonkhet. You don't even know or Kaladesh. You don't even know what people were saying about some of the stuff back then. People could have been saying similar things or whatever. They could have been like, I do like the inventions, or I do like the Amonkhet specials, but why can't I read the cards on Amonkhet? Why is Wizards doing that? Where time flies and people still like those cards. They're very beautiful, gorgeous cards. They look crazy, but they're beautiful. They're amazing. And same for Kaladesh. I mean, I wasn't around playing back then, but the consumer sentiment detaches eventually as time goes by. So I would argue with stuff like Murders of Karlov, Aether Drift, Outlaws of Thunder Junction, the fact that people are so negative about the flavor is a good thing for someone who wants to buy the boxes and keep them for more than a year or two. Because this is the moment you go in. You go in when everyone is thinking about the fact that, yes, the theme did not work for anyone who was at pre-releases, anyone who's actually currently playing. The theme didn't work. That's true. But it doesn't mean the cards aren't powerful. It doesn't mean that people won't buy some of these cards or come back. It doesn't mean that some of the special guest reprints aren't actually huge opportunities. Where you had stuff like in Wilds of Eldraine, I know when that dropped, those special guest people were like, why anime? They're like, these anime cards look like trash. They look like AI anime. Fast forward, no one's saying that. You see Ristic study the confetti foil almost hitting like $1,000. You see the same with Smothering Tithe. The anime confetti almost $1,000. You know, it's like 600. You know, I'm saying almost 1,000, but to me, if it's hitting 600, it could easily hit 8, and then it's 1,000. It's only a matter of time. That's the trajectory it's on. It's hitting 1,000. Maybe in a year, maybe it takes 2. It will be 1,000. So let's just say the discount. You know, tomorrow's discount is today's deal. Is today's pricing. So that's kind of what I want to reflect on. I want to reflect on this idea that it matters how people are perceiving the product in the long term. I don't think it really matters for Magic the Gathering. This game is different than something like Pokemon, where if something is playable, if something is strong, people are going to buy that slot in their deck. There's almost a certain disconnect with the flavor of the cards, or even the theme of the sealed product, and what people even want out of these products. There's a pretty big disconnect, and I would say that disconnect is people just want strong cards. There are people who do collect, and that it does matter, the flavor of like the specific cards itself. There's people who collect sealed like me who do care as well. I mean, I would say my current product that I've really just been kind of geeking out over is Brothers War. Not for Transformers, but I think the artifacts, the retro foil artifacts, I love that idea, and I do like the idea that you could pull a serialized card. I'm not afraid to admit that. I think a lot of people say, you know, it's so lame, you're never going to hit it, and they want to be negative on it. But everyone would love to hit a serialized card. I genuinely feel that way. Even if it's not everyone, I would say it's a large amount of people get excited for the idea that there could be a serialized card. And I would use Lord of the Rings as an example, where people were buying the box just to try to get that one of one ring. It was because it was so rare. It's that, you know, it's like a mini version of that. It's like, oh, you have a chance to get one of... Yeah, that's the whole point. So it's all over the place. Some of these videos, I mean, I'm pretty new to making videos, so let me know what you think. You know, leave a comment. If there's some sentiment you want to talk about, go ahead. I'll read it. And to be honest, I'm at that stage where I might even make a video about whatever, like just the few comments I get. I mean, I think I have like 3 subscribers right now. So, and I've just been, you know, on my way home from work, I just put out a video, and you know, I'll see how it goes. I would say this is kind of a reflection of the way I'm doing sealed, with stuff like Outlaws, stuff like Aether Drift, where it's just like right now, yeah, sure, I have 3 subscribers, but sure, Aether Drift is $175. I think you can get a case for like $175 each on eBay, and then you can get like minus whatever %, and then you can also have your cashback credit card, so you can get like maybe 3 or 4% off that. So that's pretty much it. Good luck to anyone who has Dragonstorm. Let's try to go to the moon. Good luck to anyone going into Aether Drift. Good luck to Murders of Karlov, Outlaws of Thunder Junction. These are all great sets. And yeah, let's see where it goes. Good luck, y'all.